So welcome everyone on this beautiful sunny day. And I want to acknowledge the territory that I reside on here on the Sunshine Coast, the Sisha Nation, and this sacred territory where winter ceremonies happened for over 10,000 people of this nation many years ago. So if you want to acknowledge your own territory, I invite you to do that. And this acknowledgement of the land is in keeping with our theme for the next 2 weeks, which is about legs and feet and grounding, connecting to the earth, to the land, to the environment around us that we are all part of in our bodies and minds. So please lie down and just start by feeling where you're at today in your body. You're welcome to do this lying in a bed, or I know one of you is going to be on a heated bathroom floor. That sounded kind of a nice idea to me. So some of you might like to try that, but you can be on a firm bed for this practice as well. And then just inhale into the belly. And exhale, draw the belly in and make a ha sound. Drawing the belly button in towards the spine as you do that. Inhale, expand the belly towards the sky. Exhale, draw the belly in. And if you can, pull up on the pelvic floor and just feel a slight tuck of the tail as you do that. Inhale, expand the belly. Feel your back arch through that attention to the breath. So maybe you can put a hand under that arch in the lower back right now, and exhale, draw everything in. And maybe even tucking the tail under slightly. Inhale. Now this time exhale, can you exhale from the bottom up like you're zipping up a pair of jeans? Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Tuck that tail under slightly. Lower back to the floor. Inhale, expanding from the top down. If you know about chest belly breathing, which most of you do, you can add that right away. Otherwise, just the belly expanding if you're new to this practice. Exhale from the pelvic floor up to the chest. And inhale from the chest down to the belly like you're unzipping a winter jacket. And now exhale from the pelvic floor up to the chest like you're zipping up a jacket. And one more time, inhale. The exhale this time, we're going to add a humming sound. As you focus on that sound, can you pendulate between that and also noticing what your body is doing? Inhale, feel that back arch. And exhale. Feel the breath move the body, that lower back into the floor. Inhale, feel that back arch. Now, before we add our ohms, we're going to expand the movement a little bit. So we're going to stretch those legs out long if this is comfortable for your back. If it's not, you're welcome to put a rolled mat or blanket or blocks underneath your thighs. If you can, you're going to point your toes on the inhale. You're going to flex your feet as you exhale. On the inhale, bringing your arms up to your place. So maybe you just bring them to the sky, or 3/4 of the way up. You could bend your elbows at this point and touch your shoulders at the end of the inhale. Or if you can, bringing the backs of the hands all the way to the floor and maybe tucking the chin in.
And maybe you have a blanket or a pillow under your head or a block. And then exhale, flex your toes towards your nose and see if you can lift those ankles off the ground. We're doing this without props under the knees today, just to kind of remember the basics. Inhale, pointing the toes, the arms overhead. And exhale, flexing. Now, if this is feeling too much, we're going to do 4 more rounds. You could do 2 with one leg, the other leg bent, and 2 with the other leg. Okay, so let's just do that. Inhale. I'm going to show with both legs working. Exhale, flex the toes towards the nose. And for the last 3, we're going to add those ohms, switch the legs after this one if you choose. Inhale. Om. Now, stand. Your breath is shorter than me. Welcome to do more ohms between my om. Om. Now. Om. Just rest for a moment in Shavasana or your legs bent. Maybe place your hands on your belly. And maybe set an intention linked to grounding. So may I be present with what is. It could be something simple like, may I remember to feel the bottoms of my feet when I walk on this beautiful land. May I be grounded. You're ready? And move back into the physical body. So I invite you to do this with one leg bent if you want. So you have your right leg bent and the left leg straight. So I'll show it that way first, and then I'll show another option. So inhale that left side, extending, and again, feel free to modify the left arm. So you can bend the elbow, you can have a bolster behind you, or just don't bring the arms high. Inhale all the way up, chin coming in. That works for your neck. And exhale, can you slide that foot, slide it up towards you, and then inhale, point as you bring the arm overhead, point the leg to the sky, the foot to the sky. Exhale, drawing the leg down, the heel down to the ground, touch the heel as your hand comes beside that left hip. And then inhale, pushing the leg out and pointing. So we're going to do that again. Now I'm remembering that it's nice to do this with the bottom of your mat a bit folded up, so you can slide on the floor a bit more. So if you want to do that with me, feel free. So we're going to do that again. Left side. Inhale, extend, long, arm overhead. Exhale, drag that left leg in. So this is working with strengthening the tendons and the muscles around the knee. Draw it up, and I'm flexing the toes towards the nose. Inhale, pointing the toes, arms coming up, overhead. Exhale, flexing the knee, touching the ground with that left heel. Inhale, extend long, pointing the toe, and repeat. Exhale, drag the leg in. Knee comes to the chest, toes flexed towards the face. Inhale, extend up to the sky. Exhale, drawing that heel down as the hand comes beside the hip. Inhale, extending out and pointing. And exhale, we're going to bring the arm down and release that right leg and switch sides. Now with just the right leg, sometimes it's nice to just want to do one leg at a time. Inhale, bringing that right arm up, pointing the right toe. Exhale, draw the leg in, using from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly button, drawing the leg towards the chest. Inhale, pointing the toes, and the arm comes up to the sky. Exhale, bending the knee, foot comes to the ground, heel to the ground. Inhale, pointing the toe, stretching away. Exhale, we're going to do this 4 more times. Inhale, extend to the sky. Exhale, heel to the ground, arm by your side. Inhale, stretching out with the heel and at the end pointing. I just want to clarify that. 3 more times. Exhale, drawing in, drag that heel, drag it. Use the core, use the muscles around the knee. Draw the knee into the chest. Inhale, point to the sky. So this dynamic stretch for the hamstrings. Exhale, drawing the knee in and touch it down to the ground. Inhale, pointing. And 2 more times. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale, extending up. Exhale, grounding down. Inhale, extending out. And last time, exhale, drawing in. Inhale, extending up. Exhale, grounding that heel down. Pulling the breath up from the pelvic floor to the belly button. Inhale, extending out. Exhale, bring the arm down and release that left leg. Rest, or you can have both legs bent and just take a rest. Notice what you feel. Any discomfort in the body, or any sensations of pleasure and energy and vibrancy. Notice if you feel one leg more than the other. We're going to keep this going. We're going to do both legs now. If this is not available to you, do one leg at a time, what we just did. 2 times left, 2 times right. The rest of us are going to do 4 times. Usually we'll do 6 times. So 3 times left, 3 times right, and the rest of us will do 6. Inhale, pointing the toes, arms coming to your place overhead. Exhale, drag both heels in and bring the knees to the chest, flexing the toes towards the nose. This is also core strength work. Inhale, extending up, Urdhva Prasrita Padasana. Exhale, a variation of Apanasana, specifically for working with the legs and the core. Inhale, extend out. I'm keeping the toes flexed until right at the end, I'm gonna point them. And repeat 5 more times, or 2 more times on your left. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale, extend up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, extend out. Four more times, exhale, drawing in. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, extend out. If you're doing one leg at a time, switch sides 3 more times. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, extend out. 2 more times. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale out. And last time, exhale, draw in. Inhale up. Exhale down. And inhale, extend out. Exhale, bringing the arms down. Relax the legs to the side in Shavasana or relaxation just for a moment. You can have the legs bent, feet hip width apart. You could potentially angle the knees in and rest. Notice your breath. Notice surprisingly the breath rate has increased. So I often call the lengthening of the breath that we do in yoga and yoga with asana is yogic cardio. We work the breath through lengthening the breath and work the heart. Notice any flow of energy in the body. Perhaps you're starting to feel that apana vayu from the tailbone down, the pelvic floor into the backs of the legs and into the feet. You have a rush of energy like a flow of water. Perhaps you're feeling some tingling sensation. If you're feeling any discomfort anywhere, just notice that discomfort and try to pendulate between that and an area of comfort and ease. So let's move into those hamstrings a bit more, and you might want to put your mat back to where it was. So we're gonna be stretching those hamstrings a bit more now. You want to put your belt or your scarf or whatever you have. I like to just make a loop People like to hold belts in various ways. Just hold your belt however is comfortable for you. There are many ways to do things and find what works for your body. You could have your right leg bent. We start left and move right, as was the practice of Sri Krishnamacharya in the latter part of his teaching. We started with the more receptive side, or the Chandra side, and then moved to the Surya, more active side. In earlier work, he always did right to left, so I find it interesting in his last 25 years, he moved to left to right. You can extend that right leg out if you prefer. You'll have a deeper stretch if you do that. Just be mindful. And then exhale, bend that right knee into the chest. This is wonderful for the lower back as well as for the legs and feet. So for those of you with various lower back things or spinal things, this might be helpful. Pointing your toes. As you inhale, exhale, flex your toes towards your nose. So I'm doing this with both feet. So you have some level of awareness even in your right leg and foot as you do this. It's not just resting. Inhale, extend long. And exhale, bend. Again, you're welcome to relax that right leg by just bending the knee. Just that. Very simple. And bending that knee towards the chest as you exhale. So it's kind of a half lunge or happy baby, as we call it in the West. It's really good for the back, but we're really getting into the hamstrings, into the calf, the bottoms of the feet, and the lower back. Just keep this going 3 more times. If you want to work a little harder, you can extend that right leg so long that your heel comes off the ground on that exhale, and then inhale, point. Just really using the legs. And just finishing up. I'm going to switch sides and do it around 6 times. So this one, definitely you can go into your own breath pattern if you do it differently than me. It doesn't have to be with me. And you can bend that left leg or have it straight. Inhale, point the toes. And exhale, flex the toes towards the nose and bend the knee into the chest. And stretch the opposite hip as well as getting into the hamstring, calf, bottoms of the feet, the fascia. Inhale, pointing. This is also working with the ankle flexibility and strength, one side at a time. And keep going around 4 times. Pausing between inhale and exhale. I know some of you are taking this class primarily for mind and emotion, reduction of stress. Just staying very present to the link between the body and the mind and the breath. Focusing on that breath and how it coordinates with the movement. Just giving you a break from all of those thoughts that can cause us lots of suffering. When you're ready, bring your legs up to the sky. And sometimes we can't bypass that with just, thinking our way out of it. We've got to move the body. We have to get into the nervous system in different ways than just thinking. So yoga can be very helpful for that. Stretching your legs to the sky, and if it's comfortable, bringing your hands in namaste to your chest. and just hanging out. If this is not comfortable, you can have your legs against a wall if that's available, or on a chair. Couch, got one nearby. You do one leg at a time. You can stay in this version of Viparita Karani, just resting here. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Or inhale, Om. Exhale, Namo. Which means I surrender, I allow things to be as they are. And then you act from that place. You find your feet, you find your grounding before you act.
Waypoint, 15 minutes.
Someone's got their mic on. Just make sure all the mics are off. Ready to release that?
And that's the first part of the practice. That could be its own little practice. So just notice how you feel having done that. We're gonna move into some strength work for the hamstrings. And we're gonna do this in two steps. So if you've got your blocks or books, their books, make sure they're matching books like old encyclopedias. If you've got those available, you can do this without them, but I'm gonna add a step using these hard blocks. So if you've got those available, get those ready. So we're gonna go into Dvipadipedam bridge. And we're gonna work on strengthening the hamstrings. So we stretch hamstrings a lot in yoga, but we don't often think about strengthening them. And we do that with bridge pose. So some of you will enjoy having a block between your thighs as we're doing this first step, or a pillow. Exhale, pressing into that block, and you can kind of tuck the tail under a little bit. Inhale, release. Exhale, press into that block. Tuck the tail under and just see if you can lift the hips up a little bit or a lot. Now inhale, lift even higher, release that block a little bit for those of you that can do this in your practice. Exhale, press into that block and roll down. So we're moving on exhale and then adding an inhale back arch. So explain that again. So inhale in the position, exhale, press into that block and tuck the tail under and peel the lower back off the ground as you're pressing into the block. So this is for people with instability in the back. Then inhale, if you can, for those of you who can do this, you're going to lift higher now. This is the hamstring strengthening part. You're going to lift higher now as you inhale. I'm leaving the arms down, so I'm focused more on the legs than the chest. Lift as high as you can. And then exhale. Press into that block and gradually come down. One more time. Inhale in the position. Exhale. Press into the block. Peel the lower back off the ground. Keep pressing into that block. You don't come very high for this part. Now inhale. Breathe into the chest and into the belly if you can, and lift higher. Press into those feet
Can you press, really use the feet and lift higher still? Exhale, pressing into the block, rolling the spine down. And release.
From there, you might continue what I just showed you as your practice to continue this. If you feel like you can move on, I invite you to take these two blocks and you're going to put them under your feet. So we're just going to make this a little bit more simple now. You're just going to inhale, come up. My toes are hanging over the blocks a bit. I am trying to align my knees with my ankles as much as I can. And exhale, coming down. And notice you can come a little higher with those blocks under the feet. So I just added this based on some knowledge I learned from a physio about strengthening the hamstrings with a little bit of height here. Inhale, coming up. This also, I find, feels really nice on the hips. Exhale, coming down. For those of you who don't want to be arching your back this much, don't use the blocks under the feet and do step one, as I showed earlier. I'm going to do this 3 more times. Inhale up. You could still have a block or a pillow between your legs. Exhale to work those inner thighs. And inhale up. This time we're going to stay. If it's comfortable, if it's not, you can come down and then go back up or just rest. If it's comfortable, stay here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release a little bit. Just keep this going. It's also very strengthening for the lower back, for the hips. You might be feeling one of your knees now. If you've got some weakness around one of your knees, you might be feeling it as well. Every time you inhale, try to lift a little higher, tucking the tail under, lift a little higher. And when you're ready. Down. Notice how you feel. Bring your knees into your chest. Asana, inhale, knees away. Exhale, knees towards the chest. You can keep this going. I'm going to do this very simple version. I'm removing my blocks. If you want to work more with that pelvic floor region, bring your arms by your sides and exhale. Try to use your pelvic floor to draw your legs in. It's quite different than adding those hands. Sometimes I add the hands at the end to give my lower back that stretch, and then inhale, release. Now I'm not leaving my feet up Pilates style. Okay, the feet are dangling down, yoga style. It's a bit of a different vibe. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. This is working the Apana Vayu, which is a downward flow of energy, but we activate it through this pelvic floor to belly activation. So it's a bit of an interesting juxtaposition between moving from the pelvic floor up and then the energy flows down. Add a hold after exhale if that's appropriate, and maybe holding knees during that hold. Apanasana, classic simple pose from the Krishnamacharya Desikachara lineage.
And when you're ready, just take a rest, stretch those legs out if that's comfortable. Just rest here. And notice any sensations in the body. Maybe the feelings of energy running down the backs of your legs to your feet. Maybe noticing differences between how one hip turns out versus the others for those of you who have imbalances in the spine like scoliosis. Maybe noticing the quality of the breath. Right now, does it seem even? Inhale, exhale, even. Is the inhale longer than the exhale or the reverse? Or are you barely noticing the breath at all, has become extremely subtle? If you are feeling pain in your body, notice that pain. And then pendulate your mind to a place where there's comfort and ease. And then back to that place of pain. And see if over time there's a change in that experience of discomfort. So when you're ready, I'm going to move on. So bringing the feet wide, we're going to move into just some gentle twisting movements, paroretti. Inhale, center, exhale, bringing the left knee towards the right big toe. Inhale, center, exhale, other side. Now, if you have a bunion, this might be uncomfortable, which I'm starting to experience as I age. So I'm now adding sometimes a little bit of comfort here, another layer, a thicker mat, a blanket, anything, just to kind of get rid of that discomfort. If you likely have a little bit of discomfort as you do this, just add a layer of cushioning there. Feels really nice when you do this in your bed. This is a variation of Jatra Paravriti that my teacher, Mr. Sridhar, developed, as far as I know. And it beautifully works us towards an Ekapada version of Ekapada Virasana, Supta Virasana, if you know that pose. And notice if one side is tighter than the other. He often gives this to people who have knee problems, just to identify maybe some tightness in the thighs and the quads that could be gripping due to weakness in the hips or weakness around the knees or even weakness in the core. So the thighs can be big grippers in the body, and we have to kind of gently remind them to relax sometimes if we're going to be able to strengthen the muscles around the knees or the tendons. Some of you might be able to stay on one side. You could just stay like this. You could put, so I've got my left knee down. You could put your right hand underneath the right buttocks to intensify the effect of that stretch. Starting to look more like Ekapada Supta Virasana. And if you know that pose, you can do that as well. It's bringing that left foot beside the left hip. I'm not going to demo that because it can be quite hard on knees if you're not ready for that. And when you're ready, just switching sides. I'm not going to cue the breath now, just make it simple. When you're ready, on an exhale, switching to the right knee, coming to the left big toe. And I'm placing that left hand underneath the left hip to intensify the experience. And breathing here. Just notice if you're feeling this in the feet, the knee, the quad. So specifically works with lengthening that right quad, quadriceps, thigh muscles. Maybe bring that right arm up overhead. That can help you get more into the psoas. And you certainly could go into the classical pose if you want. You can also try stretching that leg out, but a little harder when you're in this variation. All right, when you're ready, release. So you might be feeling that around your knees, inner knees or outer knees, probably inner. Inhale, center, exhale, bringing your knees to the left. Inhale, center, exhale to the right. This is going more into the hips, but some of you will be feeling this around your knees if you've got some tightness, weakness, both. Focus on a long exhale as you move. Jatra Paravriti. And when you feel ready, perhaps staying on one side, you can start with your easier side and go to your harder side. You might want to loop that outside foot on top of the inner thigh. Ready, switching sides. Just getting a bit more into the hips. It's also getting into that quadricep. As when our thighs are tight, it really throws out the alignment of our knees and makes walking asymmetric and all sorts of effects. So working one side at a time in the quads, really effective for helping with the knees. When you're ready, release that. Exhale, bring the knees into the chest. Inhale, legs to the sky, arms overhead. Exhale, knees to the chest. And you can keep that going, or some of you might want to add on. Inhale, extend both legs long. Exhale, draw the knees to the chest. So you can skip this part if you want, just inhale up, exhale in. Inhale, extend. Urdhva Prasrita Padasana, exhale, Apanasana. Inhale, Suptasana with arms overhead. Exhale, draw everything in, similar to what we did earlier. Slightly different. Inhale. Exhale, Apanasana. Inhale, Suptasana with arms overhead. Or you can call it Tadaka Mudra. Just do that a few more times. You could be doing this one leg at a time, if that feels better for you. Be pointing and flexing the feet. I'm pointing on Apanasana and I'm flexing on Urdhva Prasarita to the sky. And when I extend my legs long, I'm flexing the toes towards the nose. Again, you could be doing this one leg at a time. And release, rest. Your legs could be bent or not. I'm gonna go back to stretching those legs now and focus a bit more on the calves and the hamstrings by moving a little bit less. So I'm gonna bring the left ball of the foot into the belt, the right leg extended long or bent. And if possible, just staying in this position, flexing the toes towards the nose, or possibly inhale, point, and exhale, flex, especially if you're working with your ankles as well, you can add that variation. So I call this a dynamic stay. When you stay in a position, but you move a little bit, inhale, point, exhale, flex. We're going to do this after you're fairly warmed up. Try to keep that left hip sinking into the ground on that exhale, because otherwise you bypass the insertion points of the 3 hamstrings. You let that hip off the ground, so try to root it down on that exhale and inhale, point. Feel ready going to the other side. I'm not counting the breath now, just letting you go into your own practice, switching sides when you're ready. I want to spend more time on one side, that's also fine. Just a reminder, you can always have your camera on or off according to just how you're feeling in a particular day. Always nice for me to see you, but not absolutely necessary. Moving that right hip down on that exhale, really feel it draw down. So it will want to pop up as a release valve. So try to bypass that with your mind and your body. And you'll feel a more intense stretch in the hamstring. Hamstrings, I should say. And 6 to 8 times. And ready again. Both legs up. Bring the palms to the heart. This works for you, this variation. You could just do legs up the wall if you prefer. I'm just gonna show the simple version, but feel free to do legs up the wall if you prefer. We're gonna all go there soon, so you can go a little ahead if you want. Just rest the breath, just observe the rise and fall of the breath. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Inhale, om, exhale, namo. Feel ready. So moving towards legs at the wall. You want to add to your legs up the wall a pillow or bolster under the hips. I invite you to do that. That's an add-on that can be helpful. Just a reminder, I think all of you know this, but just a reminder, if you're in this position, your hamstrings are tight, you want to move back until you feel relaxed. So you don't want to be stretching in this position. It's a restorative pose from Iyengar Yoga. And the teaching is you want to be relaxed. You don't want to be stretching. So just make sure that you're adjusting appropriately. I'm gonna come a little closer today, because my hamstrings seem to be fairly okay today, depends on the day. Placing your feet on the wall and do a Dvipadipedam, if you can, lifting your hips and putting that bolster down. If that doesn't work for you, just skip this part. This is an add-on. I'm giving it for those of you who want more complete Viparita Karani experience. And you tie the belt on your ankles or on your thighs, or you could have two belts and do both. And there's more from there, but we'll just start with that. We're going to end the class with this today. Just going to rest here for a few minutes. And if you want, I invite you to do some pranayama in this position. So we're going to actually do our final pranayama in this pose. So exhale, long exhale, and hold after exhale. So for example, exhale 4 seconds, hold 2, exhale 5, hold 2, 6, hold 3, 8, hold 4, 10, hold 5, etc. Your inhale can be the same length as that hold, or just free counts, whatever feels comfortable. So long exhale, half the length of the exhale, hold after exhale if you can. Then the hold, draw in and up the pelvic floor to the belly button. Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the throat. Keep this going longer if you like. You're ready to close. Just gradually coming out of the position. To one side, resting here. We're just gonna do our final closing Om in this position, or you might still be in your inversion, just listen. You can stay up to 5 minutes longer if you like. Om. Om. Shanti. Namaste. Namaskaram. Thank you very much.